Great. Thank you for having me here. Are we ready for the cocktail? We're almost there, last mile, right? I just want to, I know there was a lot of rich content today, a lot of great information, and I see some people are really tired as well. I purposefully chose a very simple topic to cover here, and I want to kind of share the idea of self-guiding user experience. You have heard a lot about data products today, heard a lot about how machine learning, data science, and algorithm is able to power a lot of different data products. So the notion and the idea here is, could AI be used to power user experiences? Right. So the two topics I want to touch really are developing a self-guiding self-guiding application, to provide the most engaging user experience, and then also, kind of think about how historical product usage data could be captured, mined, and used for try to create some usage patterns for generating something we called the next action recommendation, right? So there are two topics I want to kind of briefly touch base on. So why the notion of AI powered user experiences? If we know that if you download a mobile application and if it kind of takes a little bit time for you to kind of get used to it, you just go and uninstall it. There's no patience for us to kind of really learn and understand. The second thing also is creating that engaging initial user experience that kind of wows you to keep trying the app is very difficult, and primarily because on a mobile device, complexity of the application that you're trying to build, screen real estate is really small. At the same time, there is certain expectation of domain knowledge the user needs to have, as well as the familiarity itself, right? And the other topic is also the desktop and web experience, which has steep learning curve, loses adoption very quickly nowadays. People do not have patience to really go through a training program most of the time to kind of learn some of the desktop and web experience tools. So, some experiments I have done in my past life, as Vinod mentioned, I come from Adobe Systems, and we definitely have some of the most complex desktop applications as well as mobile applications. And we have been starting to think about, how do we use crowdsourced product usage data that most of our users are already using to identify something we call high-value actions. Right? So the idea really is, how do you identify high-value actions that could be leveraged for, converting free users to paid users, because a lot of our products, people download and try to use it for free. So those we call as high-value actions, as well as identify high-value workflows. What are the patterns of workflows that people use on different applications? And identifying those and then thinking about how do we predict next user actions based on the current and previous actions. I'm not going to show a lot of demos and codes. I know you have seen a lot here, but just the idea of providing the best user experience. And at the same time, how do we focus on experience beyond algorithm and data? So of course, algorithm and data is going to be there, but how do we focus on user experience without thinking about persona-based user experience development? So a simple example here, I'm sure you may have used a lot of photo editing apps on your mobile devices as well as desktops. Here is a simple idea of a photo editing application, and you can see that there are menus that are highlighted in red. There are like 15 different actions that you can take, and you'll have to scroll to get to the last action. And then the second one is a contextual window. That basically means, if you are taking a picture and if you have a blurry picture or a dark picture, what do you do usually? You go and take another one. What if we are able to identify the deformity in the picture and then provide a contextual menu? Right? So the two idea here is the predictive feature panel. What that really means is, based on who you are, what segment you belong to, how do we tailor the menu actions based on that particular persona type or that particular user type. And then the second idea is, how do we look at the context on where the application is and then start providing contextual user experiences. So this is a simple example of mobile application, and look at some of the complex desktop application. Would it be feasible to identify the context that the user is in a complex desktop application, and then start providing guidance or start providing gradient-based guidance where the icons are colored based on the probability of the next action, right? So these are two notions and two ideas that we have experimented with just to make the learning curve or the user experience more engaging. Do you guys see a probability like this? Where I'm sure you have used a lot of mobile and desktop application. Sometimes you get frustrated. Do you see this idea and this notion coming together with where we are right now, with data technology, data science, and machine learning? I can see some nods. Awesome. So here the goal really was how do we provide a mobile photo editing app, make it less complicated with 20 actions, constrain space, provide creating engaged user experience, minimize scrolling and navigation around, right? So what we did is we basically mined, instrumented the app to really identify the different action patterns that multiple users take, try to segment them. Of course, use H2O to do a lot of the machine learning ideas that we can implement with. And we basically looked across thousands and thousands of product usage behavior data, and go through the similar pattern of training the model and providing APIs that could be called in the user experience during the runtime. Some of the goals that we had really in mind is, how do we constantly train the model? Like the mobile and the desktop application was instrumented for collecting every single click, every single mouse movements, and then identify all the high-value actions and high-value workflows. But then we want to constantly train our model, and then also how do we continuously do model development and deployment? So we wanted to have a seamless model training, development, and deployment process in place. Of course, Java Pojo, something that H2O does, you all might be familiar with. And then have a REST API interface. So every time the desktop or mobile app is in a particular context, how do we make an API call for creating next action recommendations? Some of the requirements we had in mind. Once the models are deployed into the platform, the APIs were available and instrumented into both the desktop and mobile app. And there was this constant communication between the UI and the APIs for generating next action. And every time the user clicked on the next action, the conversion was calculated, and the model continued to get better and better. So here I really wanted to highlight H2O and Steam working together. And you already saw a quick demo of Steam. Today morning we announced Steam. Some of the problems that Steam, I don't want to go into the smart data products, but what I want to really highlight is this design where how Steam kind of comes into picture in the model management space. How do we use H2O and our Python H2O flow to create model and go through scoring services to deploy the model and have an API that can be readily consumed through your mobile app and desktop app. Right? So this is basically a notion that was experimented by my team, and we were able to successfully kind of bring in some really interesting user experiences on mobile and desktop apps. And just a quick one around Steam that I want to highlight, how Steam is kind of bringing together the entire data science pipeline and workflow of data scientists, software engineers, DevOps, domain scientists, and providing a seamless platform to kind of put together a system. So with that, I just want to kind of end here and not go far. And just a teaser for you to kind of think before the cocktail event is going to start. Any questions? Awesome. Great. Thank you very much.